The Real Web Legends Carter's Quest is an absolutely fantastic spectacle that you're missing out on. It is a very promising but ultimately incomplete early access concept that combines the overly eccentric feministic stylings and personalities of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, most notably with their poses and powers with Breath of the Wild's cross-dressing in a highly daring yet welcome attempt that has been served to the gaming community on a silver platter. It's definitely a passion project centered and inspired upon by The Legend of Zelda, assuming Navi was remotely interesting and useful throughout the entire adventure. There is so much here to love about this. You can see how much is thrown into each interaction and character, making it feel comedic but in a way that leaves you smiling and happy. And while there may be some issues, it's important to understand that this is all being done by a solo developer with a clear vision in mind and a solid execution of it all. The story follows Carter, a silent protagonist aptly named given the fact that this is his quest, as he falls from the sky and crashes in a woodland outcrop, where he is greeted by a creature named Goba who collects a crystal that he has dropped as he gradually regains consciousness. While different, I'm sure you can figure out what this is actually referencing. The crystal is actually a source of power, demonstrating his warrior abilities. Goba takes off and Carter follows suit, eventually realizing that this creature is actually a homunculus of the late magician of this tower, not to be confused with the leader of humanity, Kelly I, who has gone missing due to the conspiracy that has ultimately left her kingdom in turmoil and to fend for themselves, which Carter is determined to explore despite the warnings he has given, while looking for a way to put an end to it. The kingdom searches both for her and also for a replacement for her people who have begun to grow restless. Carter finds himself smack dab in the center of it all, doing all that he can to stop the Helix, which is an organization attempting to obtain a vast power through manuscripts that will end up destroying everyone. So with the power of flair and magic at his disposal, as well as the warrior abilities he has kept, none will be getting in his way of achieving peace in this realm. The game has, and has had, a number of issues, which is fair given the fact that this is a very ambitious endeavor. To create such a game with such a high quality and unique retro feel to everything that it touches. There was a huge problem that I was having in the beginning when the game was first launched for the prologue. It would never actually shut down, until the entire computer was reset, and even then it would still linger for a few moments before eventually finally closing down. This seems quite concerning, as if it was taking up your computer's memory or possibly causing a memory leak while rejecting admin privileges to force it to close. This is the only game that I've ever played that has actually done this. I thought I'd bring it back up because it was something that I had previously been concerned about, because it demonstrated that the concerns are gradually being resolved over time, indicating that the developer actually cares, which is what matters most when dealing with early access titles. There were a few bugs, such as cutscenes breaking apart, bosses not functioning properly, and a few visual flaws with the camera in various situations, as well as clipping and of course, falling through the world. It's obviously a bit rough right now, but boy was this a trip to remember. It is a game that I'll definitely be returning to, whether it actually has issues or not upon full release, because it was just so much fun. Carter's Quest clearly pushes the concepts of surrealism along with traditional respects to retro video games, and also incorporating a lot of memes and anime references. While still remaining unique to itself without feeling shallow. You can't forget the retro graphical stylings that appear to be on the rise lately with remakes and inspirational games made by indie developers. It seemed very distinctive and new, and even if the run cycle is a little unrefined, it still feels like it added something to the presentation. I just can't wait to see how it all unfolds over time, because of how bold it's trying to be. What sells you, or in this case what sold me on the experience, was how blatantly funny it was. No matter what kind of an exchange Carter finds himself in, it is frequently resolved in the most emasculating ways that feels like it isn't trying to take itself too seriously. It works because it's unique and manages to get a smile out of you while also showcasing you just how much power is within Carter, Kelly, and every other hero or villain that you come across. Imagine if Navi from The Legend of Zelda was actually useful. You know, instead of
"Hello, look! Hey, listen! Watch out!"
spamming you every few moments. Think about being able to transform her into powers and helpful features that would allow you to solve more puzzles and to even fight enemies with you. This is what your partner Yuba, the homunculus, does for you, while also being somewhat customizable whenever you feel like pulling out your Tamagotchi to adjust their design. There currently isn't a whole lot to do in the open world since it feels more like a sandbox at the moment with a few houses and shops that you can enter along with a few randomly placed point of interests. And the same could be said about the current dungeons and puzzle designs. They really don't add much to the challenge and definitely could use some work since it's mostly very linear, like climbing some vines, killing a few enemies, and lighting a few torches. Really, it feels like it's attempting to be more of a visual spectacle, where you are compelled to play more because the story is excellent, the characters are amazing, and you never know what the hell is going to happen next as you are knocked on your ass unexpectedly. While it's not done yet and it will be released as an episodic story over time, I would still highly recommend you pick this game up or at least wishlist it on Steam right away and possibly even support them through their Patreon, because this is quality gameplay that is genuinely unique. What is currently available is the prologue and Act 1, which is about 3 hours of content, which basically introduces you to the kingdom and the gameplay elements that'll have you craving for more. So let's help support the developer with the resources and efforts that they need to press forward to maintain their visions and desires for such a massive undertaking. This is a game that must succeed. It can't be tossed aside and disregarded when so much effort is being poured into it for your own entertainment.